Hey, welcome back. So last lecture we worked on setting the relationship between the project object and the backlog object, and we also worked on actually creating our first backlog within a project object, and we also worked on the logic when we're updating a project object, not to delete the backlog, right? So now in this lecture we're going to work on the relationship between the project task and the backlog. Okay, and again, I just want to defend my design one more time. And the reason why I am doing this way is that then we can have a separate call just to load the backlog. Okay, I really do not want the list of project tasks within my project. All right, that's just an architectural decision that I made. You can disagree with me. Remember, there are many ways of writing code, just like there are many ways of writing a resignation letter after you won the lotto. So just bear with me. I really want to do it this way. I think it is cleaner. I don't want to load my project object with so much stuff. Remember, this thing, the list of project tasks, that's going to grow and grow and grow and grow and grow. And that's why I do want to make sure that this is actually another object, so that again, we're not cluttering the project one with that. Okay, especially because in our design, when we get our project loaded into our UI, into our state, right? Do we really want the project and the the project task loaded there at that time in one API call? I don't think so, right? And I'm going to show you what I mean, I promise you. All right, but I'm pretty sure that some of you are already like, yeah, I get what you're saying. Even if you remember, you don't have to agree with me to understand what I'm trying to do here. Okay, so as long as you understand why, I mean, that's good enough. Okay, so let's start wiring up the relationship, the one-to-many relationship with the project tasks. As I mentioned before, a backlog will have many project tasks, but a project task can only belong to one backlog, to one project. In our use case, this is how we're going to implement it. Okay, so the first thing that we want to do here is do a private list of type project task. And then we're going to call this project tasks. And then this is going to be a new array list. This is a very important moment in our coding. There are a lot of basic tutorials that when they wire up this relationship, they don't initialize the data structure. That, I promise you, at some point you're gonna have a problem related to it. And the problem is that when you have that problem, it's really hard to track down when you are new to the Spring framework, which I know some of you are. Okay, so just please keep an eye on this whenever you're using whatever data structure. If this was a set, if this was a tree map, if this was a hash map, whatever, just initialize it here at in the object. Okay, this is gonna go a long way. You can have so many unpleasant issues if you don't. All right. So as I mentioned, this one's a one-to-many relationship, and again, this is going to be cascade all. Okay, when you delete the backlog, everything with the backlog goes away, and that includes the project tasks. And the fetch is going to be also fetch type eager, and then this is going to be mapped by, on the other side of the relationship, backlog. So basically, this is the name of the attribute on the project task side. And getters and setters, before we forget. Perfect. Okay, so we're done on this side, I think, for at least for now. And then on the project task side, we're gonna set up the many to one with the backlog. All right. So again, we're gonna bring the backlog object here. Cool. Then we're gonna do the add many to one annotation, and we're gonna do fetch, and the fetch type here is gonna be eager too. Although I think we can go with lazy here, and it should work. But you know what? I'm just gonna keep things consistent for now. And then the cascade, we're going to use cascade type refresh. Okay, and what this is, in the context that I'm using this, is that I can delete a project task that belongs, or it's a child to a backlog object, and this just refreshes the backlog and tells them, hey, you know what, this no longer exists. All right, I mean, that's a good explanation as any, because that's in a nutshell what it does. All right, or how it has been working for me when I actually built this the first time. Okay, so we're gonna define also the join column here, and it's gonna be the join column, I'm gonna name it backlog ID. I do want to say though that if I'm not mistaken, JPA does this out of the box for you, but I just want to be very very specific with everything we're doing here, so that's why I'm putting that there, right? Okay, so, and by the way, this is updatable false and this is nullable false. And last but not least, if we learn anything about infinite recursions in the last video, JSON ignore. All right, and if you don't believe me, then leave that one out. Roll the dice, take your chances. I am not. Okay, so I hope that's pretty clear from that nasty issue that we encountered in the last video. Okay, getters and setters. Do we have getters and setters in the backlog for the project task? Yes, we do. Okay, so with this in place, I just want to restart the server, because usually when you set relationships, if you miss anything, then you're gonna get errors here when it boots up, and everything looks good. All right, so I'm just gonna leave things here on branch 33 in case you want to check this code, and then in the next lecture we're gonna start thinking about how we want to go about creating project tasks within the backlog that are associated with the project, and that's going to be our first CRUD operation for this portion of the project. See you in the next lecture.